Mock draft simulators are all over the place. But somebody like me who's constantly studying these football players and really, really looking at the film, I can see consistencies. But there are also consistencies in the mock draft simulator. Let's give our top seven picks available at number 10. Y'all ready? Let's get it cracking. Yo, 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 no maniacs, super no maniacs, and all in between. Welcome to another edition of Feed the Bears. This is a live broadcast that, after talking to the no maniacs the other night, well, last night, I asked them would they be okay if we did some live podcasts for Feed the Bears, and they were just like, yeah, do a little bit of both, no man. So I'm game for it. So just doing my best to give you guys as much as we can give you. So I was doing some thinking last night, FFG, and after the show, I started, looking at some film. I was thinking about some ideas to do for a show. And so this is, I'm going to prime you guys and get you guys set up for what's going to happen. Not tomorrow, because I think we're going to have Minister Charles on. He's going to do, the franchise mode thing, the whole offseason thing. He wants to do that way. I don't know if he wants to do that or the mock draft, but we'll figure that out when we get with Minister Charles backstage. But we'll have him on tomorrow night. He wants to do his thing. But I was thinking about for Wednesday. And so this is just an idea for you guys. And so for all the people, the no maniacs that are not members of the, of the channel, you can join the channel for only $4.99 a month. It's all it takes. Just go to the YouTube channel where you see the icon, hit join, and then you're in. It's pretty much self-guided from there. But I'm just giving you guys a little tip. If you want to have some input on this next show that we're going to do on some extra sauce, best thing I can tell you is grab a membership, because I think the first 4 Super No Maniacs we see in that show, we're going to assign them a job. So it's going to be, somebody's going to be Ryan Poles, somebody's going to be Ian Cunningham, somebody's going to be Dennis Allen, somebody's going to be Ben Johnson. So we're going to assign 4 roles. And what I plan to do is, as you guys take those roles, we're going to go through the mock draft simulator. And once we get to the 10th pick, you're going to come with a consensus from your head coach, your D coordinator, your assistant GM. Everybody's going to have a say-so in what to do at 10. And whoever has that Ryan Poles title, he's going to say to me and whoever else is guiding the show, the pick is in. And once I see the words the pick is in, you're going to tell me exactly what to do from there. So basically, the Super No Maniacs are going to pick those players. They're going to pick the draft. And so whatever they decide to do, pick it at 10, move it at 10, that's what we're going to do that night. And I think it's going to be fun. I think it's very, very interactive for the people that really support us, man, and give money to the channel. That's very, very much appreciated by us, man. We really need that. And so this is just my way of trying to figure out a way to get you guys more involved. So anybody that wants to be involved, the early bird gets the worm that day. So just letting you guys know, and we're going to give a couple of shout outs to people I see. Here's the first Super No Maniac in. My guy Derek Guy was the first one in here today. Joseph Archer was right after him. Jacob on the Don. I haven't forgot you, man. I gotta just remember after one of these shows, I'm trying to get you a wrench, man. Get you as a mod in the show. I'm gonna get you, man. I just got to remember to do it. I've just got so much on my mind these days, man. FFG Style, of course, is right here. Let me see. Vic Perez just bust up in this piece. Who else? Illy Jones. All right, let's get it started, FFG. So FFG came blindly into the show. He just saw we were doing a podcast. I asked him if he wanted to invite, and he was just like, hell yeah, let's go. And so he thought it was something, but I had to explain to him what we're going to do. So basically, it's like I was saying, there are consistencies in the mock simulators, very, very much so. And so time after time after time, I've done like a complete, I don't even want to say 10 of them. I don't even know if I've done 10 of them yet, but I keep seeing consistencies. And so what we're going to do today, we're going to keep the 10th pick. And from what I've gathered looking at these mock drafts, I'm going to show you who I keep seeing time after time after time as the top 7 players in this draft. And whether we agree with each other or not, it's just who I think the Bears would target at that position if they kept the 10th pick. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you guys the top 7, and we'll just talk about it from there. But FFG, you want to give some shout outs and say some what's ups? Go right ahead.
Yeah, what up, everybody? Sorry I couldn't make the show last night. Your boy got promoted, so they had me working like a dog this week. So I was looking like I was at church every day, all these crazy meetings and going places and lunch and all that. But I'm so glad to be back with y'all today. So I see White Ghost just hopped up in the building. Shout out to all the No Maniacs that follow us, give us love. Appreciate it. It's the best thing in the world to be able to have this kind of platform and for y'all to be able to tell us everything. Marco King, welcome to the building. You know what I'm saying? Always great to have you. So I really think that this is going to be a great exercise that we can actually explore on. And please don't go too far into jeanty for like 30, 40 minutes because he's probably going to be one of them dudes that's probably always going to be there at the end. I just want to let you know there's a lot of other players that maybe not everybody's thought about. So expand your mind a little bit. Let's get this cracking.
All right. So what I'll do is, let me see here. What should I do? All right. Let me take you guys to the simulator that I did probably about an hour or two ago, just to put something up and show you the consistencies. Let me share my screen. And we'll pull it up. Here we go. All right. Can you see the screen, FFG?
Yeah, I see.
All right. So here we are at the number 10 pick. So basically we got up to number 7, 8, and 9 here. Let me see if I can get the entire draft. Why can't I see the entire draft here?
Can you scroll up in that little window?
Oh, here we go. So the first pick off the board, I keep consistently seeing this too, is Cam Ward. Next guy off the board was Mason Graham. Third guy off the board was Will Campbell. Let me see. Next guy was Abdul Carter. The Jaguars picked Shamar Stewart. There's your guy, Ashton Jeanty, going to the Raiders. That I consistently see that. Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders consistently. I've only done so many mocks, but that is consistent. Shedeur Sanders to the Jets, Armand Membu to the Panthers, and Travis Hunter to the Saints. And so here are the best players available at this point. Let me see. Per this simulator, it's Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. Number 9 is Ted McMillan out of Arizona. Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. Mykel Williams out of Georgia. Tyler Booker out of Alabama. Jalen Walker out of Georgia. And Malachi Starks, I think, out of Georgia, I believe. Yep, out of Georgia. So this is what I consistently see all the time. And so I thought it was important that I show you guys so that I'm not fronting. I'm just giving you guys who I think are the best available and who I think the Bears might target at that spot. So here we go. Let me pull this down. Let me get to a couple comments before we do it. Vic Perez gave you a congrats on your promotion, bro.
Yep, I see that. Thanks, Vic.
Let me see. White Ghost says, in order to help ourselves, I believe Poles will trade the 10 and 41. You know what? The 10 pick, I consistently believe, I consistently feel like this is an opportunity to grab some more capital. That's what I think. I don't think there's a player there more important than getting a plethora of guys because it's the draft is so talented. I think who has the most draft picks is going to be the most successful to me. That's just the way I think. So to that, White Ghost, I hear you. Jay Greer's just bust up in this thing. Let me see. White Ghost says Raiders need a cornerback more than a wide receiver and a wide receiver one. I don't see jeanty. We'll see, man. We're going to see. Vic Perez says he'll trade that 10th too. I'm going to consistently do that. If I'm going to do a mock draft, I'm going to trade it. All right, but here we go. This is the way I see it breaking down. These are the guys I think, and we'll talk about each one of them individually if you like, FFG, but this is how I see this thing breaking down. First guy up that I see on this board, here he is. We'll talk about him. Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. Just turned on some more of his film, guys. And here's the thing I like about him, FFG. First let's get to the question mark surrounding his name, the injury. I think he had a season-ending injury this year. I can't remember what part of his body got hurt, but he did have an injury. And I think most people, when they hear the name Kelvin Banks, they start thinking about, all right, are we going to get a healthy football player? We just drafted a tackle who came into the season healthy. So most people really focus on that when they hear the name Kelvin Banks. I'm going to go to the tick. 6'4", 320 pounds. This guy's got it all. He's got it all. When he plays, he's got it all. I mean, his pass protection, I think, is pretty, I would just say, way above average. I would just say that. I wouldn't say it's stellar because all of them need some work. But what I really think sticks out on his film, you guys, what really, really sticks out, and it's a trait that I know Ben Johnson is going to like, is the athleticism and how aggressive he is in the run game, man. This guy, he gets it cracking, man. When I say he gets it cracking, when he's pulling and he's crashing dudes, man, really crashing dudes. And you got to love that agility, that mobility. It's a real strong reason why I think they may just target this cat with that pick if they keep it. It's a strong reason they will, but I'm not going to say too much peeling all the, the onion, man. I'm going to let you go ahead and go for it. What do you think about Kelvin Banks?
Oh, I think he's a dancing bear with a lot of power, and his kick step is excellent. That's why he consistently stays in front of speed rushers and bull rushers, because he can anchor as well. So in his case, yeah, I mean, it's always going to be concerned with him as far as we're trying not to keep drafting or having injury-prone players on our offensive line. This has killed us. Same thing with your boy from Ohio State, because if he wasn't injured right now, he'd be in the top 10. So he's basically the same guy who's got it all, just needs to develop at a pro level to be able to have those nuances that he can learn, especially from Roshar. But the injury concerns are what really scares Bears fans and probably a lot of teams going forward.
I'm not. I mean, this really is just attrition. Guys have that kind of stuff happen, man. I don't get so wrapped up in the fact that he got injured, and I would be upset because we drafted him. He's going to be fine, I think. I'm just talking about the traits and what I think he brings to the table, and what I think Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, when they do their powwow with their staff and they start talking about what he can bring to the table, it's going to be. And let me read Joseph Archer's tweet. He said, his chat. He says, Nomad Poles will make a way to get more picks. He did it in every draft. In the first draft, we went from 4 to 12 picks. So I see that's going to happen in this draft. I hope so, man, because I am over the moon about this entire draft. I really do hope he does whatever he needs to do and doesn't get to the point where he feels like he has to make that pick at 10. If there are suitors out there that can keep him within range of where he wants to be and where they want to be, in my opinion, you take that. As much as I love Kelvin Banks, I love the traits that he can bring to the table. He features, and most people, when they look at his film, Joseph, most people look at this guy's film, and the first thing they'll say is, oh, he's a really good pass protector. That's true. But what he really features, and what I think is going to be a standout feature when it comes to them in that boardroom, is going to be his running game and his attributes to that, and how quick his feet are and how well he moves. You see him pulling, and man, you see him punishing. This guy has got some really high traits. I still don't think he's the best tackle right there, but I'm just talking about what I think Poles and those guys might do. So any last words on Kelvin Banks, and we'll move to the next guy, FFG?
Yeah, when healthy, I would look at the Bears as a road grading team that can pass block with consistency, because every single player along that line of scrimmage are excellent run blockers. So that running game that we would have, no matter who's back there, would be in the best position they've ever been in since I've been watching, since Matt Forte was running the ball. You know what I mean? So in that case, they're going to have, if he's healthy, it will be dynamic run game and upper echelon pass game. So better than average. So Caleb won't be in a situation where they just throwing fresh bodies to run him into the ground, because they're going to be getting ran over up front, first of all, the way Ben Johnson likes to run his offense. And that way that, play action game is going to be able to kill people, or the bootleg.
Unalive.
Well, be able to take advantage of people down the field. And that way the offense can continue to move, because they won't be able to dictate to us. We'll be able to dictate to them by pushing them around, and that's what you want because they're all big and nasty up front when it comes to the run game. So yeah, if he's in good health, it's not a bad pick at number 10. And I can't see what would stop the Bears other than health concerns. It's not overall his career. They're all happening in the senior year right before they get drafted. And that's been the case. So it's a slow start for these guys to take advantage of that high pick status.
All right, let's get to the next guy, man. We can. Here's the next guy that consistently comes up and who I think the Bears are probably consider as this is a. It's most of the guys I have here are in the trenches. Pretty much 6 out of 7 of them, I believe. All of them in the trenches. Tyleik Williams keeps showing up at number 10. So Tyleik Williams, 6'3", 327-pound defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Really quickly, I think as far as the nose tackles go, but I don't want to pigeonhole Tyleik Williams as just simply a nose tackle. I do think he can give you 3-tech reps. In fact, I've seen it. I've seen it multiple times while he's been at Ohio State. This guy's burst off the line and his ability to win the hand fights, the leverage. He constantly wins the leverage battles. This guy is what you want as a defensive tackle. I think altogether as a complete defensive tackle, as much as I love Kenneth Grant, I liked Tyleik Williams' film better as a complete defensive tackle, a guy that can move from spot to spot, move around a little bit, and the power that he plays with. He's almost like a 4 or 5 year pro in the NFL now with the skill set, man. I see stuff that he does, little nuanced things that a lot of people may not pay attention to that I think are professional level now. And he's just at Ohio State. And so it's going to definitely translate. He's going to be one of your better, defensive tackles in the league for a while, man. I'm going to call that right now. I think Tyleik Williams he's the most ready and complete defensive tackle there is in this draft. And I'm talking about whether you want to line him up at 0, 1, 3-tech, whatever you want to do, 4-eye, whatever you want to do. Tyleik Williams, I think, can do it. I think this guy has got some serious traits, and he has got to be high on this draft board for the Chicago Bears. And I consistently see him available at the 10th pick every single time I do a mock draft. What say you about Tyleik?
Well, yeah, because there's other players that are at more prominent positions of need than defensive tackle because Kenneth Grant gets all the flowers and the love, from analysts on TV because he played in a great defensive line just like Tyleik Williams. So what I see on film is he's very versatile, and because he studies the movement of the offensive line, he watches, basically if you go back to the old school movies about the fingers in the dirt, he responds to that better than most defensive tackles I've ever seen at a college level to understand how to get by somebody, whether they're playing run or whether they're playing pass, and what makes him a great disruptor. And the best part about his game is he can be moved around anywhere on the defensive line in the interior, which Dennis Allen is going to fall in love with. And now you got another power disruptor, and Grady Jarrett can be his mentor, and the Bears could actually take off, and you got Ford as a backup as a straight 1-tech. So, I mean, by just getting one defensive tackle in this draft, you can have basically 6 defensive tackles or people that can play tackle or end on the defensive line from the inside, because Dale can play defensive tackle, and Grady Jarrett can play defensive end. So the versatility what the Bears are going to have would be devastating going forward to give mismatches in every single kind of concept that Dennis Allen wants to run based on each series and where we are in the game, that kind of thing. So I think he would really fit the mold of what the defense is going to be able to provide next year to give the kind of looks that are going to basically fake out the offensive linemen so they don't know who's coming and when and how, and and the power they all bring is going to be devastating.
All right, let's get to the next guy, man. We'll move it on. Here's another guy I keep consistently seeing at number 10. That is defensive end Mykel Williams out of Georgia, 6'5", 265. He's right there. And so this is why, I'll give you my reason. Let me just tell you, I don't think I need to explain a whole lot of what I've seen on tape with Mykel Williams. Everybody's seen his tape, at least seen the highlights. Everybody knows what he can bring to the table. He's an explosive edge rusher who's absolutely more powerful than the 265 would lead you to believe. He is very, very strong, very, very athletic, very quick, great setting the edge, man. It's just powerful. And, I think as a pass rusher, he can get home with that power, that long arm, and he can really use power rush to get home. I would just say he's raw as a pure pass rusher as of now. The tool set, the tool bag that he has to get home as a pass rusher, it needs a lot of developing. And whatever Mykel Williams is now, and it's really good. What he is now is very, very good. Ain't even hitting nowhere near the orbit with a good defensive line coach that helps him work with his hands, gets a couple of pieces to his his repertoire, his pass rush plan. It's pretty simple to detect. He's got a decent little spin move every once in a while, but he mostly wins with power. But the athleticism, you can't get, when you're looking at edge rushers, you can't get so overwhelmingly wrapped up in, their pass rushing. You got to understand that the game is played all over the place, and it's how he affects the quarterback. It's how he makes the quarterback move. It's, just being somebody that can, set the edge in the run game. All that stuff counts. All that stuff counts. So as a pass rusher, he's pretty raw. But as a talent, out of this orbit. And so I'm thinking about Mykel Williams and the moves that we've made so far, getting Deo, Odengbo, and that body type. We've got a pretty decent repertoire of pretty big size edge rushers along with Austin Booker. The question I keep asking myself now, since all that happened in free agency, will they look at a different type of body type? Will they look at a stronger guy at the edge? So I got another guy we're gonna talk about here in a minute. But this guy consistently shows up at number 10. What do you think of him, real quick, FFG?
Well, he's an athletic freak. So, in my estimation of watching the SEC games, watching Georgia several times this year and last year and the year before, this kid is an athletic freak with tremendous speed and power. And so as a rotational piece, because I don't think he's going to be a starter, but as a rotational piece, you actually could morph him into what.
Wait a minute, time out. Why wouldn't you think he'd be a starter? If he's drafted at 10, he's a goddamn on starter.
Okay, who's they going to start over?
He's going to be a starter. If they draft that dude at 10, he's going to start.
Who's he going to start over?
It doesn't matter. I know traditionally I have not seen a guy drafted that early who didn't become a starter. He's going to start. Somebody's going to lose some snaps. They're going to probably, that means he probably moved Dio to the inside. It's going to be Dio, Dexter, or something like that. And then my guy Montez Sweat at the edge and him on the other side. It'll be like that. If he's drafted at 10, he's definitely going to start.
Well, if he starts, the only problem I see with that is being able to stop the run on a consistent basis and cover the edge, because you can't just do that with power.
He's very good at that, bro.
We're gonna have to see, though. I mean, one thing I noticed about the way Georgia ran their defense, they had a prototypical NFL style player at every position, linebackers to defensive linemen to safeties to corners almost. So for him to have that kind of skill level, it kind of like reminds me of what Leonard Floyd used to do, where he was wrecking shop because he had everything around him. And so I will know how he's going to be integrated properly into this system, to be a consistent pass rusher, because he is one of those guaranteed, I'm going upfield, getting around the guy or pushing him down, and I'm attacking. So I just wonder who's going to start at the other defensive tackle then to make him make room for him as a starter at the defensive end position. So I wonder if they're going to try to make him into what they used to have when Cameron Jordan was first drafted. Or are they going to build him into that? If they build him up, then yeah, I can see that being the way that he makes the defensive line that much better, because he's probably going to over time get bigger and stronger, and then he'll have the moves that he'll need to be able to rush the quarterback on a consistent basis.
Yeah, I think he's got he's got everything you want in a 4-3 edge. He can line up with his hands in the dirt. He can stand up. He's dynamic in that way. He's one of those kind of guys. If you want to you want to flex a little bit with him, he gives you the option of falling back into coverage. Man, there's nothing. I watch him on film. There's nothing about him that doesn't say day one NFL starter in a 4-3 defense. That just all it means is, like, my only criticism of him is the fact that he's raw as a pure pass rusher. But that can, with good coaching, then you can hurry up and rectify that. And so I think this guy, he's definitely there all the time. And, I'm hearing a whole bunch of people talking, and this guy's name comes up on a regular basis at 10. So we're going to see. That's Mykel Williams, edge rusher out of Georgia, 6'5", 265 pounds. Let's move to the next guy. And so this guy, Omarion Hampton, running back from North Carolina, constantly shows up at number 10. And he's 6 foot, 220 pounds. Everything, he's the prototypical, running back. Like, if you had to basically draw up a running back, what would his size and traits be? It's like Omarion Hampton is like the Webster's Dictionary version of NFL running back. He's got it all. He's got the quickness, the lateral mobility, agility, the power. One of the things you don't see a whole lot of is, him doing a whole lot of power runs, but he's got great contact balance. I mean, he's got it all, man. And, this wouldn't be, just to be honest with you, this wouldn't be my first choice for running back. Just me. And the way I see this draft is, I love Damian Martinez. That's no secret to anybody. I love Damian Martinez, but I'm talking about the likelihood of what the Bears might do with this number 10 pick if they pick a running back. Is this guy, he's got it all, man. Soft hands. He's a complete back, man. I loved everything about him. Really did. I just liked a couple of running backs more. But what say you real quickly about Omarion Hampton?
He said he's the consummate workhorse back because he has it all. He can take off. You create a lane, he's gone. He can run a cat over. He can bounce off cats in the backfield. He can he can be a complement to the passing game by running screens, getting open in the flat, even running wheel routes, or even flaring out. And he can block. So, and he's not scared to put his nose in there, because he played in the ACC where he had to do that a lot, because especially last year after got drafted to the NFL, he had to block a lot, because the guy that had coming in, or that stepped up to be their starting quarterback, the line wasn't as good and the receiving core wasn't as good. So he had to block a lot. And he carried the load. I don't think he carried the ball nearly as much as Ashton Jeanty, but you saw everything you need to see on tape that made him a spectacular pickup in the run game, especially for draft boards, because he's going to be able to come into your team and be the day one starter. And I'm not sure how that's going to work, with Swift right now. Now, if they're going to run a two-headed monster, then yeah, I can see if they're going to try to make Swift a lightning, or more of the passing running back, and make him more of the power, take some of the hits. But the blocking is going to be so much better that I think they're going to be able to have that good balance, because I think he's actually a decent goal line runner as well, because he squeezes through the hole and can get low and power through and get that 1 or 2 yards that you need at the goal line.
So Omarion Hampton is when we just talking about, remember after we were just talking about what the Bears might do. We know he'll fit, and he's going to play a role if they draft him. My only question about it is, should you draft a running back here? And would the Bears value him this high in the draft to get a running back now? I don't know that, we're just talking about possibilities and guys that I consistently see available at that spot. And it's just, to me, it's still a little early to draft running back, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. I'm just trying to put myself in the mindset of what they value at number 10. Do they think, the trenches are better, better value players there? Or, I think running back right here, I think is a little rich in my opinion, just like I think tight end. It's like in my mind, I grapple with the idea that they would draft a running back or a tight end this early. I just have a hard time believing that, but we'll see what they do, man. It's just a thought. Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina, 6 foot, 220 pounds, man. Thoroughbred running back if I ever saw one. Let's get to the next guy. This guy right here, Nic Scourton, 6'4", 280 pounds, out of Texas A&M. Now, there's a lot of talk right now about Shamar Stewart, and it's a lot of people that think I think Nic Scourton is a better, well-rounded, more polished, complete defensive end than Shamar Stewart. I think this is the better football player. Now I'm not saying that Shamar Stewart cannot gain and get better than what he is. I think he's going to end up being a interior tackle, but as a pure edge rusher, talking about edge rusher to edge rusher, there's no doubt in my mind after looking at the film, this is the better football player for a bunch of different reasons. He sets the edge much better. You can see him actually get some interior tackle reps and play it well, play it very well. And he is an absolute, his engine, like, this is easily one of the more impressive edge rushers that I've seen and I like several of them. But this guy right here, you're talking about a 4-3 edge with a slightly different body type than the longer, rangier guys that we have on the team. This is a nice change up body style. And so in relation to what we've done already in free agency and what the team looks like currently, how much, like, as high as I am on Landon Jackson, given all the big, long edge rushers that we have and big bodies that we have, are they looking for a guy that's a little bit more, a little bit more thick and strong and different type of body? Are they looking for somebody like that instead of the big, long, rangy guy? That's a question I have in my mind all the time since they've made this pick of Dial. And so this guy his motor is elite. This guy is performance and just production. This guy is always, and I say always, making plays, stout against the run, develop pass rushing techniques. This guy is a better football player to me than people might argue that than Shamar Stewart. This guy right here, Nic Scourton, is a stud.
How am I on mute?
No, go ahead. You good. You just delayed.
Okay, I was like, wow, how did I get on mute? No, I really think that you hit the nail in the coffin. I think he's more compact, more just really muscular as far as the upper body frame compared to everybody else is long and rangy. He is like, all in the shoulders and neck and with long arms. And so I think his powerful legs help drive that to hold the edge. I really think that his knowledge of looking at the sets gives him an advantage, because I think he's one of the smarter defensive ends in this class, which a lot of people don't give him credit for, because he's playing on a terrific defensive line in college. So I'm not sure how they're going to be able to navigate that with a guy they got that's pretty similar, because they're both interchangeable. So if they're looking for that, basically the versatile situation, that he may be the perfect fit in Dennis Allen's defense, where he's got a bunch of the guys in the same kind of range. So you don't know who's coming, doing what, and when and where. And you're going to have to keep dealing with waves of, similar attributes, but different type of player, because he is going to lay the wood to you, and he's great against the run. And that's what the Bears have been looking for, because last year after, Big Boy Billings went down, they didn't have an answer, in the run game. We were just getting gashed left and right. So I think that would be a positive. And I really think this all boils down to, what Dennis Allen says when it comes to these linemen, because, even though the last player we had, Omarion Hampton, I really don't think they're looking for, you know, position players, or especially on the offense early in the draft. I think they're looking for offense or defense linemen that can benefit the team and to have waves of quality players to pick up the slack in case somebody does go down, somebody does get injured. Now we don't have to worry going forward because we're going to have a plethora of guys that can come in and play similar but different roles in this defense, and you'll never know where it's coming from. Or offensive line, same difference.
Yeah. I'm just reading a couple of chats. Derek Guy says we got a lot of big, powerful guys on the D line. In my opinion, we need a speed edge rusher. You know what? As much as I would love to agree with that, and I do agree with it, Derek. Here's the thing: I only can go off of what I've seen historically with Dennis Allen. Go looking for in the past 8 to 10 years. Go looking for anybody you want that you can describe as a speed edge rusher in his defense. I don't see that guy. I've never seen that guy. Now, could he change this year and say, you know what, since we got, a bunch of big guys that are big, strong, and powerful that can really, crush the pocket from the edge, should we really? I'm sure, Derek, to your point, I'm sure that conversation is being had right as we speak, as they're reviewing these guys for the last time and coming up with a consensus on if they take an edge right now, what kind of edge do we want? So I definitely get that shit is valid, Derek. That shit is valid. I think these same thoughts myself. And could he, for the first time, get a player that doesn't necessarily fit his traditional trait set? I question, are they having that conversation there? In my opinion, it should be, but who knows, man? It's hard coming to terms with that, knowing the history, and I just haven't seen it yet. I have not seen that guy in his defense just yet. Let me see. One more comment. Mike Green would be my choice for a fastball in the second. We was the first guys on the block when it came to Mike Green, aren't we? We was the first guys on the block. We spun the block on Mike Green early, and everybody else played catch up. That now, if you want to get just a pure pass rusher, and to FFG's point, how does he fit in the lineup? You're not going to have to start Mike Green. He's going to be a specialist. He's going to come in on third downs and get after the quarterback. That they may do something like that, but that's beside the point. I love that guy, man. I just, traditionally he's not a 4-3 edge rusher, 3-down edge rusher. He's just not. He's just not big and strong enough. He'll get wiped out. But on third down, when all you got to ask him to do is get after the quarterback, absolute lightning in a bottle. Absolutely. Let me see real quick. My guy Mike, he says I could see a change up defensive end. I can too. I'm just trying to, I just haven't seen any history of it. That's all. So it's not that I'm disagreeing with anybody. I just haven't seen it. Let's get to the next guy. You guys know how I feel about this one right here. Landon Jackson. Of course, he doesn't show up like right there, top echelon of the top 10 players in a mock draft simulator. But this is when you got to throw all that kind of stuff out of that. Just flush that. Tell me what you seen on tape when you saw Landon Jackson. Tell me you didn't see a 4-3 edge rushers and one of the best in the draft when you saw him. Yes, he turned a lot of heads when he went down there at the senior, not the senior, at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine. And so, but he was long on my radar before all of that. And so I think this is absolutely, he's a top 20 player, in my opinion, in this draft. Minimum, maybe higher than that. I just think his traits, I think he's going to be a long-time stud edge rusher in the NFL. I think he's going to be dominant. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to be dominant. That's what I think of his traits and his power and the way he plays. This cat is one of those options. But again, once we got Dial, how many of those Dial type of bodies do you want? You know what I mean? So what'd you think about Landon Jackson real quickly, FFG? You muted again, bro.
Oh, he's my man crush at edge in this draft. I think he's a complete defensive end. He has it all. He's got great pass rush moves. He can hold the edge. And the one thing that I love about him, he does not quit on any play for any reason at no time. And he's always coming. And that's what you want to see. Plus, the size that he has, the long arms and the power that he possesses gives him an advantage over most tackles. So either he's getting around you, getting through you, spin move, getting, into the backfield and make a tackle and a running play. He does it all. And so for me, and I don't think a lot of people are thinking he's going to be this high, because he's always been projected as a second round player, but you never know who's going to come up and grab him. And I would take him. Maybe not at 10. We train back to 18. That's who I would take. But I love his game in all facets. And he's played against the best competition in the SEC every day of his career and has been dominating.
Smitty Q says, I like Jackson, but definitely in the second. I have a hard time, Smitty. I have a hard time grappling with the thought that guy falls into the second round, but he very well may. I think his talent. I'm just gonna say, I look at the board probably a little bit different than some people do, and I look at the tape, and when it comes to the tape, that is traditionally my Bible when it comes to where I think these players, how talented they are, in respect to the rest of the board. And I don't see this guy getting out of the first. If he gets out of the first round, I'm going to be amazed. I'm really going to be amazed. But he very well may slip out of the first round, Smitty, to your point. Man, he just that engine he plays with and those traits are going to be undeniable, man. You can see this is a day one starter in the NFL, man. This is day one starter, period. But let me see here. The last guy I think we have is this guy right here. Somebody spoke him up early, but the big cook, Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan, 6'3", 339 pounds, man. You talking about when I think about a dancing bear, and I hear the term dancing bear, this guy is constantly coming to my head. This guy's freakish athleticism at his size is, I don't know that I've seen that. Like this dude, he's like, Warren Sapp is about 6'2", 6'3", 280 pounds at best, 290 at best, I would say. And I think that's just, you being rich there. This guy moves as well as him. Is that disruptive? He is just so very raw as an interior pass rusher. He's really good at shooting the gaps and getting upfield, holding his ground on anchors, really stout base on him. But the upside for Kenneth Grant is enormous. I mean, enormous. You put him with a seasoned, grizzled veteran D-line coach, and you got this dude is going to be a problem. Get the proper hands on this dude and see what happens, man. I think Tyleik is a more complete and ready defensive tackle, but you're talking about athletic upside. Kenneth Grant is in another orbit. This guy is a treat, and you get to thinking about when you're watching the film. You get to thinking about I'm watching how raw he is and how he's just winning with pure power and athleticism. He's going to run into those more seasoned, savvy offensive linemen. He's going to run into his match. But when he starts to develop his plan and really start to get a feel for how NFL, talent wants to take care of him and block him, and he has a counter for everything they want to do to him, he's definitely going to have to play some football for a little bit to really get that, ingrained into a system. He's going to be a problem if drafted by the right team and the right coach gets their hands on him. Oh my God, he's going to be, man, he's just special to watch, man. What say you about Kenneth Grant?
I agree with Smitty Q. He's filled better for the Bears than Graham just because of how he plays. And he's got powerful hands. And with the burst that he gets off the line of scrimmage, the way he positions his body to be able to hit those creases and to be able to get in the backfield to disrupt plays. And he makes a lot of plays in the running game, which people don't look at, on on his way to the quarterback. You may just have got the handoff this time. Other than that, he is pushing the pile from the inside, and that's what the Bears want. Push the pile from the inside to allow those linebackers or the defensive ends to collapse the outside so the quarterback has nowhere to go. And the sack total will definitely go up with him playing in the middle. I think he's Billings with a lot more athleticism because Billings has the strength. He's got the power. He just doesn't have the athleticism of this kid, and he's already polished. Just wait till, Williams gets his hands on this kid and shows him all the nuances of the game and how to watch the snap count and how to be able to get his hand fighting to the elite status. Then he'll be a complete player and he'll be able to dominate, the line of scrimmage, the way in Kansas City does, just at a defensive one tech compared to a three tech does as a disruptor, where he can close out games by mashing the pile. And if he's playing next to Dexter, oh my God, them two, so it really depends on, what Allen wants. I mean, but to me, oh my goodness, I couldn't see a better one technique or that kind of size they want to bully and stop the run, just shutting down a whole half of the field, forcing you back the other way to Dexter and Sweat and have linebackers fill. That would be devastating for us.
Here's the thing.
Dale's going to be on the other side. So, I mean, where are you going to run to and where are you going to pass to? Because there's not going to be a way to slip out.
Yeah, man. It's like the things, like the stuff, like, again, I'm going to reiterate what I said before. And by the way, anybody that's not in the chat and wants to chat, there's 75 people watching the show. I only see probably about 10 or 15, 20 people chatting. If you want to chat, just hit the subscribe button, jump right on in. We'll welcome you right into the community. We appreciate your support in advance, and thank you. Hit the subscribe button and come on in here. We'll welcome you into the fam, man. But hit the like button and share it with your people as well. But Kenneth Grant is just so much to like. I would have to disagree with you. He's not polished yet whatsoever. He just wins off of raw talent right now, and you can see that consistently. The inconsistencies in his game is that he's inconsistent. He can win, like, you'll see that play where he just dominates, and then you won't see it again for another couple of series. Then he does it again, another couple of series. You got to stack those wins together. And so for me, I think the ideal way of thinking about Kenneth Grant, say we draft him. If I'm the D-line coach, and it's just me, in my mind, this is what I would be thinking. I'm teaching him two things and teaching him to make sure whatever it is that you do, just be fast about it. But two things I would give him is, because of his power and sheer for that power off the line of scrimmage, and that burst is going to be overwhelming to centers and guards. And so the first thing I would be teaching him is the push and pull technique. So basically, boom, you get up into the guy and you snatch him down and you get on your way upfield. That technique, and I would definitely be teaching him a swim over technique. Those are the two things I'd be focused on. Be like, Kenneth, listen, I know you got a lot of ideas in your head about how you want to win at the line of scrimmage. This is what I want you to concentrate on. He does that consistently. He's going to win, let's say 85% of the time he's out there on that field. All he needs is really two moves. Good defensive tackles, I think, in my opinion, and edge rushers too. I think all they need is really in the NFL, because the game happens so fast, it's two moves and maybe a counter, in my opinion. That's just the way I see it. But this guy has a tremendous upside, and I can't wait to see what they do at 10. This is just me giving you guys who I see consistently at 10 and who I think the best fits available are for the Bears. That's all it is. It really has nothing to do with me and what I think about the player or, any of that. This is just what I can see happening in Chicago once they get that 10th pick, if they don't move it. But those are my thoughts, man. That's my top 7. Before we get out of here, let's just wrap with the No Maniacs, man, a little bit. And anything you want to talk about, we can talk about that a little bit more if you want to, or whatever you want to talk about. Let's just kick it with the peoples for a minute before we get out of here.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm excited. Everybody who came in here has got a lot of great opinions on the players that we, profiled that are at the top of the draft at the 10th position. Because it has changed a little bit since free agency. But I think the biggest consensus is we trade back and get more of these players that may still be around at 18 or even 39. We get an extra 44 or, whatever, 30 picks, whatever we get, we have a better chance of getting some of these guys that are going to fall because not every team is going to have the same board.
I'll
And
tell you
so,
what, FG, before you keep going, let me get you the answer. Derek Lawrence Kennedy is the first time I ever seen him in the chat. So welcome to the community. I hope maybe he just heard me say, man, come on in here, man. We want to hear from you guys. Hit that sub button and come on in here. But Lawrence Kennedy, you can go ahead and read his question. I'll let you give your take on how to answer that one.
do you think it's possible to trade back with Cincy and swap the number 10 and 41 for the 17th pick and Hendrickson and grabbing Gant at 17? It is possible. I'm not sure if they're going to willing to throw in the 41st pick for Hendrickson. That's the only thing for that to move up to the top 10 for 7 picks down and give up a 41st and a player. So that's the only thing I look at that particular swap. So you're looking at the swap is basically you give a first round draft pick, a second round draft pick, and Henderson for a top 10 pick. Now, Cincinnati might be that desperate at this point, and if that's the case, then we'd be in the driver's seat. That would be the ultimate way to go because we get another second round pick at 41, and we get a dominant pass rusher. Then I know that Dennis Allen loves. So, and then we can get some of the players we've been talking about because some of them probably going to fall, like Hampton or whatever. We can maybe able to get any of these players that we're talking about in the top 10, that may have not all been on every simulator, but depending on the needs of other teams, because there's guys that we even talk about, like the receiver out of Arizona, and we didn't mention him, and he's number 9 or number 10 on most of these boards, in the top 10 as a pick. So who wants a wide receiver? So, I mean, that could be a possibility.
So
it really could be.
I would and this is not my take on what I would like them to do. This is just me trying to picture what Ryan Poles and that front office might think in regards to the possibility of making trades to get Trey Hendrickson. I personally, not personally, but I don't think they're in a position to do it at this point. Now, can they and overstrap themselves cap wise? Yeah, they can get in over their head and just at this point, I don't see them doing it. I think it's just a little bit too much to take on at this particular time, given everything they've already done in relation to what's available in the draft. I don't know why they would do that, to be honest with you. Now, before we got Dio and that kind of thing, if we were still in that spot and Trey Hendrickson still on the board, I think that's a good conversation to still be having right now. But right now, I just don't personally, I don't see him doing it, man. I don't see, there's probably somebody in that building that's, we still got Trey Hendrickson out there and we can do some things to get him. But I think what he would cost plus, what they'd have to give up at this time, and they're just starting to replenish the offensive line and defensive lines. We still got pieces to get as far as the especially on the offensive line. We still got to get, backups for all these guys, man. We lost a few people. I think Tevin Jenkins might be going to Miami. We lost Jake Curran. Who else did we lose? We lost a couple of guys, man. So we got to replenish the backups. And so the only way to do it now is later on in this free agency, post camp cuts and things like that, or replenish it in the draft and get some extra capital or UDFAs, however they want to do it. But yeah, I don't know about that one, man. I love to agree with you, Lawrence. It feels good to think about that we can get him, but I don't know if it's how doable that is inside Hallis Hall. Get to a couple more questions.
Hey, wait, hold on, no, Matt. Here's the reason why I would do that, because once I got him, I'd trade him for a 3rd and 4th round draft pick this year, or a third and a second next year. And that way we could still build up with young talent. And we picked up 2 or 3 extra picks in 2 drafts. And I'm got to play for our team because somebody's going to be willing to do it who's going to need a pass rusher by the time the top draft, the top edge rushers go off the board in this draft. Somebody's going to want a quality pass rusher who's only making $15 million this year. That's probably still going to have some money left after the draft. After free agency. They're still looking for a big name that you can actually exploit at that point.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's, to me, look, moving forward, I think everything we're going to get is in the draft and in the UDFA market. Again, man, the UDFA market, I might be more excited about that than I am the actual guys that get drafted. That's because I know the draft, man. When you know the players like I do right now and doing all the work on them, and I'm still, by the way, there's like a plethora of teams on my list that I still haven't broken down, and I got to get to them. I'm gonna be spending a lot of time tonight after I'm done working out throughout the evening, studying some of those guys and trying to get ahead of the next prospect show that we're gonna do, so we have more players to talk about. But holy crap, man, there's some undiscovered diamonds I know on that list that I can't wait to get to. So like the draft is gonna be great, but some of I can't wait to see with Ben Johnson being here for his first year, Dennis Allen being here for his first year, the guys that they're going to prioritize after the draft market. That after draft market is going to be humongous, guys. I'm telling you, I cannot emphasize that more. That UDFA market is going to be humongous. They have better have people working overtime trying to get the priority straight there, who they think is going to fall off that board, who's going to land in their laps. I think I'll try to find some stuff out because I did this when I was still at the bar room, tried to find out how that UDFA market, how that thing shakes out. I think it's priority guys to get the first, it's based on your record, I think, who gets the first dibs at some of those guys. I think that's how it goes, but I'll try to get some more information on that moving forward. But that's what we have for this show, man. I wanted to get in and get out within an hour, and we're right there, man, 57 minutes. And, look out for Nomad at Night tomorrow. Hopefully Minister Charles will come in and do his, off-season scenario, and we'll do that tomorrow night. It's going to be fun either way it goes. But, yeah, look forward to that tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central. FFJ, any closing comments and shout-outs before we get out of here?
Yeah. I think it's a fun exercise on finding out what everybody thinks on everybody's frame of mind. I'm so glad to see so many more people who jumped in, especially late to give their opinion. Dennis Moody, Dante Purify, Spitty Cuban in the building, White Goat's been all over the place, Mike Pavlovich, Lawrence Kennedy. So, we've had a lot of people hop in. Of course, Derek Guy, the first person in the chat today, we had Illinois Jones right up there with him. So, we've had a lot of people. Mr. Mayhem jumped in for a second. Of course, Joyce Barker was, I think, number 2. Hank in the basement in the house. Victor Perez, number 4. He would have probably been, Dennis Allen today if we were doing it on Wednesday. Oh, you reiterate what you're gonna do. Jay Grizz in the house. So just reiterate, what was going to be happening coming up. So JC Cabone Don was here real early. So just let everybody know your thoughts and plans on how we're going to let the fans, interact and be in charge come Wednesday.
Well, I'll dig more into that tomorrow night because I have a more developed plan. But the idea is for everybody that's not a supernomaniac who has considered and will consider doing so, this will be the show for you to grab yourself a membership. So how to grab a membership is you go to the YouTube channel. You don't go to a podcast. You go to the YouTube channel where you see the icon for the channel. And right beneath it, you'll see the option to join. You hit join, and it's self-explanatory from there. And it only costs $4.99 a month. Why is that important? Because come Wednesday, when we do some extra sauce, the way we're going to design that show is the first 4 Supernomaniacs, people that have memberships. And it's just a tribute to how much we appreciate these people that really help us out like that. the first 4 in there are gonna get assigned roles. So there's gonna be a Ryan Poles, it's gonna be an Ian Cunningham, there's gonna be a Ben Johnson, and there's gonna be a Dennis Allen. Whoever takes those roles will kind of be in a bunker to come up with the plan at number 10, whether it's moving back, taking the pick, whatever they decide to do as a collective and as the Bears brass, that's the role they're going to play. And when they're done, the person who is Ryan Poles for that show is going to type in the chat, the pick is in, and we're going to go from there. And they're going to basically design what this draft, the rest of this, offseason looks like for the Bears. So I think that's going to be a fun interaction with people. And if they want to, they can consider what you guys are saying. But I would advise anybody who would want a part of that to get yourself a membership. Go to the channel, hit join, and come on in, hit a membership. And the first 4 in there will get assigned a role. And so that's how that's going to play out. And so hopefully we won't do it just one time. We'll do it a few other times so we can get as many people as we can a role and let them play along in that process. But that's what's going to happen Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central on some extra sauce. But thank you guys for being here. Don't forget tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central, Nomad at Night, my guy, Me Kids, and hopefully Minister Charles will be here to do his off-season scenario, man. We'll see what happens there. Hopefully he will be. But that's what we got for you guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We would appreciate your support. If you like this new content that we're putting out here, that just tells you that's one way of saying thank you. Keep it coming on the Nomad Network. But that's how you do it. But we're going to leave and get up out of here. And I'm going to say these famous words for you guys. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are out.
Peace.